What's happening, guys? Just get this. What is going on, guys? Hope you are doing well. It's DXB back with another one. Hope you can all hear me. And let me see what we're saying with the chat. We're all good. Brilliant, guys. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Brilliant to see you. Peace and love. My man, Waterv, what is happening, bro? Hope you and the family are well. And yeah, wow. Greetings to you too from Abu Dhabi. And yeah, I wish I was in Colombia right now, brother. Must be really, really beautiful. You know, sometime, someday in my life, I hope to visit Colombia. Fuad from France. Oh, bonjour, my brother Fuad. Eid Mubarak, bro. It's been a while since we saw each other. And yeah, to be honest, it's been a really tough Ramadan with what's going on. But yeah, big up to everyone in the community. I'm back with a quick live stream tonight. Nothing new, but we want to talk about the market. We are going to absolutely go through a couple of things, including the FOMC. But man, it feels kind of it feels good to be back, first of all. But more importantly, I've been telling people now for a long time, do not get ahead of yourself. Do not, you know, you can hear me now. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. I think I was just away from the vibes here, but let's talk crypto, guys. So the war escalated. I've given a potential 3 scenarios at the start of the war. I've actually been talking about the war since November last year. And yeah, much love to you as well, brother. Thank you for the wonderful wishes. And to everyone celebrating Eid, I wish you a wonderful Eid, to you, your family, your friends. Even if you're not celebrating, I wish you a pleasant day, evening, or night, wherever you are. But it's important to know a couple of things with this crypto market right now. Oil prices are going through the roof, and we're likely to see this in the CPI, guys. So anybody who's just thinking, I'm about to put the title on this video right now, and the you know, war driving oil prices, gas fields threatened, F-35 shot down, crypto bleeds. Of course, we want to talk about what's important, and that is, where do we see ourselves for the rest of the year? It's going to be interesting. Rate hikes are not purely off the table as just yet, guys. Rate hikes could be still on the cards. And for that much, at the moment, we know Jerome Powell, he wasn't actually hawkish. He was just being a realist. As far as I'm concerned, with whatever he was saying the other day with regards to this situation that presented itself. So first it was the tariffs, then now it's the war, and ultimately these are inflationary issues in the market, and we're not immune from the stock market. So if you're probably thinking, look, where do we go from here? We chop sideways and whatever, but ultimately we get to a point where we have to buy back into the market. Now, so far, I've not been stressed in terms of where this new bear market has started and where it's going to ultimately go. I think it's very clear for everyone to see that we've been in a bear market. Anybody who's disputing that and thinks crypto gets back up to, Ethereum does $12,000. Remember, with ETH, we barely even had a bull market to speak of. So we are going to go through that. Let me just put up the title for the video where you at. And yeah, let's definitely talk crypto, guys. Give me 1 second. Where's the live stream? There we go. There we go. All right. Let's put this live stream back on the agenda here. But listen, I hope you guys are feeling better. I hope everyone is doing well. And of course, as always, there is a time for opportunity, guys. It's just the fact that everyone is just talking about bullish, bearish 1 minute, and that's not how this market is gonna serve you well. In my opinion, this is around day 170 of the 2026 bear market, which is on average about 380 days, and that puts us right towards the end of the year to completely flip bullish. But that doesn't mean we will not dollar cost average, because this is truly when money is actually made in these tough times. Now, are all cryptos exactly the same? Will they all bounce back to their all-time highs? That's exactly what we need to discuss. And I doubt very much that all these, there's hardly anyone here anyway in terms of influencers or people like that. Where is my forward chats? Where is the, yeah, there's my window right here. Thank goodness I just found you guys back here. Yo, hit the likes, Patriot in the building. I'm still alive, brother, man. Looking sharp tonight as well, Hope you are doing well. Hope you're doing well. So look, the one thing I've pivoted to, and again, this is, over time you become a better investor. And being a better investment or investor, you start to get rid of silly little habits, market FOMO, stupid little things here and there. And all of that is gone right now, okay? Only the true G's, the real ones, are in the group, still talking, again, still focusing. So appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. No, I just thought, tonight, let me just, I just came back from a nice dinner date with my wife. So I thought, you know what, man, stop the sports gear. But let's get into it anyway. So guys, nothing of a surprise here. We are seeing, and I said this when the stock market was at 7,000, I said, look, guys, we are at the hands of the macro right now, okay? Bitcoin at $70,000, Ethereum at 2,145, Russell 2000 sitting around, this one is kind of interesting as well. The Russell is literally just pulling sideways. And of course, strongest cryptocurrencies right now, the likes of Tau, BNB is relatively strong because it's always been characterized by the Binance, the Binance money. But what did Jerome Powell say this last meeting? Because it was a very important meeting due to the conflict. It was not an important meeting in terms of substance, but the inflationary talk is back on the agenda. So I have done a full breakdown of the FOMC, posted it yesterday, live after it happened, or as it was happening. I was taking notes. Now, one thing we do here, at DXB Crypto is we're not going to do what we've done previously in terms of like, oh yeah, alt season and all of that. Every single one of you right now on this live stream need to think like and act like an institutional investor. Because if you break this down, and I promise you this is well worth your time. So what we know is inflation has gone up in the Fed's estimation in terms of their target. They went from 2.4, right? They went from 2.4% to 2.7%. So the Fed is projecting a higher inflation numbers come at the end of the year. So then what you need to do is, in order to understand how they came to the decision, you have something called the dot plot. Now, this is where the participants assess the appropriate monetary policy and the midpoint of their target range. Here, they came to a consensus of around 2.7. But overall, if you look at the long term, current rates, they of course kept that the same. So Powell said we're not going to change obviously the stance. The war is the critical aspect. You need to understand. Anybody who's not had a look at the news of late, I know the news is normally fearful. I know people don't like to speculate based on news, sell the news, buy the rumors, sell the news. But really, April's FOMC is going to be a lot hotter. The rates, the inflation, also the CPI, the core inflation is going to be higher. If anybody thinks we're going to get the same core inflation once again, it is not possible. And all this LNG, all this energy disruptions will show up on your bills. They're already doing in Europe. People are paying for higher gas, car, petrol prices, gas prices. You've got to be able to account all of this into the inflation. So Powell was quick to go and say the implications of the Middle East uncertainty, near-term inflation has moved higher, but it's too soon to say what the effects are. Now, I'm warning you now, many of you want to deploy money into the market, and every dollar you get burns a hole in your pocket, and you're like, oh yeah, come on, man, the price, you'd be surprised the number of people I speak to every single day who just want to put money into the market. And fair enough, if you're buying a blue chip or a core asset that you buy in a bear market, great, but you've got to be careful and DCA, and you've got to hold some money back, because for a rainy day, it's always the day that you don't have money, when the markets are absolutely bleeding. And I'm talking about catastrophically. When we went to $60,000, people didn't deploy the cash. So Powell said, important this year, we see a reduction in goods inflation as one-time effect on tariffs as it goes through the economy. So he said inflation expectations must remain anchored. Well, they are already projecting higher from 2.4 to 2.7. I'm going to have to stop quickly because my brother is over here. Pete, what is good, my brother? How are you? Great to see you on the live as always, putting a smile on a brother's face. You and the rest of the legends, I think you guys are absolutely wonderful, man. Great family here. Zebek may start moving from that stellar news. I think their stellar news was amazing. You saw the price was moving at some point, and I'll jump onto Zebek in just a second. Why are we having, let me turn off this 20. Yeah, let's turn that off. Let's put this back in. So we'll jump onto Zebek because that news is incredible. And I think there's plenty more things coming from Zebek in general, in my opinion. It's showing real resilience. Now, Powell continued to repeat, we don't know how long the Middle East uncertainty will last. And it's not worth debating or making false estimates. This is showing up in April. so far as usual, the Fed will stick to their empirical data, and of course, and many people, many analysts were saying, "Yo, this is hawkish." No, he was far from it. I don't think he was hawkish at all. So the focus has been on tariffs so far, and of course, its effects on the goods of inflation. But energy affects everything. And I mean absolutely everything. So we're strongly committed to keeping inflation expectations. Now, they have a problem. Unemployment is not going to get any better. To be honest, the impact of AI is highly disruptive. And the second thing is, now they've obviously got to fight inflation as well, hence raising targets from 2.4 to 2.7. So net oil shock will be somewhat downward pressure on spending, employment, and upward pressure on inflation. I thought, of course, this was a clear case of what was happening in terms of their direction. So just like I said previously, if you look at the Fed expectation for any rate cuts, we don't have any. The next meeting is in about 40 days time, right? So there's nothing in April. The next meeting is going to be in May. But what do we have in that time? Of course, April, 93%. And of course, and then we have June. Like I said previously, you don't need to look at this data. I think that it gets really interesting when you start to see in late September. But even then, the odds could shift permanently. So, the odds could actually shift at some point. So that's the macro, and anybody who's flipping bullish right now is not, you don't have 2 cents in the market. I think it's very irresponsible to go all in. I'm against that. I've been saying that for a long time. And this is the latest update from the war. Energy prices soar after Trump threatens Iran. Will this escalate further? I think Europe and Asia are starting to feel the impact of this war energy-wise. There was a news out of Vietnam today. Government has put out a bulletin to tell people work from home and make sure you have you use the stairs rather than using the lift. So this is going to impact us whether we like it or not. And being in the riskiest asset class of all in crypto, I think it's very wise to absolutely be out there being careful, and we'll go through what assets will look like in terms of where you dollar cost averaged on your favorite assets, what to buy, when to buy, what I'm personally doing, how much of my portfolio is in stable coins right now, and so on and so on. So Imbelta is in the building. Greetings to you, my sister. Hope you are doing well. And of course, my brother Steve is here as well. Greetings to you. Nah, thank you. I've scrubbed up a little bit today because I took the wife to a nice restaurant, and I came in and I'm like, let me jump on that live stream right now. You guys know, you know the situation here. Of course, we have those tensions, but life goes on. Everyone is pulling in the right direction. The government here, the UAE government, has been absolutely tremendous in defending people to the best of their ability. So, and the news makes it even worse. When you're not there, I've got parents and I've got people calling me from London saying, "How are you? How's everything? Are you guys okay?" Absolutely, guys, we are fine. It's just the economy side of things is probably the more of the concern, and I think short term, we will benefit from this as a community because of the fact that these assets are now becoming available to you in a spectacular way, in a bear market too. So yeah, so big up to you, Steve, and everyone else who's joining us right now, guys. Don't forget to press the like button, absolutely free. And let's continue. Let's continue with our analysis. Now, the one thing I don't subscribe to, you don't get any points for saying that the direction is one way or another right now, if that makes sense. I think what that does is it puts a lot of pressure on your, because when we think of crypto, right? When we think of crypto, we think of the ultimate price, which is, you know, making your generational wealth, quitting that job. You know, so many different emotions come to mind. And those are all dangerous emotions, because that is the only way you're going to lose money. Because by and large, crypto is by and large a scam, and it has absolutely changed my life. But it is also one of the hardest things, one of the hardest sports you can play out there. So imagine if we all thought, and by the way, I'm doing institutional research for like government bodies right now. I'm doing, you know, there's one or two things I write for people. I'm getting involved with the heavy side of things, you know, and if we think like investors of, say, corporations, or because each one of us, our 9 to 5 is our means of getting money through the door. But how do we break the cycle? How do we break the chain? You can see how uncertainty the global economy is. So if you're misusing your money, every time we get last few weeks we had 8 days of green or whatever it was in Bitcoin, and everybody just turns bullish. And when it goes one way, influencers will come to you and say, I told you so. And when it goes the other way, the influencers will say, I told you so. But it's not us versus influencers, me versus you, or it's about information that everybody can execute and what works really well, thinking like a human, from a human aspect point of view, right? Not, you know, not giving people false hope, at the same time not being ultimately bearish, so that people don't actually find assets they can invest into. So it's a fine balance. It's a really a fine line. But what's really helped me deal with any disappointments over the years is always looking at doing things differently after a cycle ends. Because at one moment you're in the heat of that cycle, you're looking at individual coins, and then you got to step back and look at the macro, let that guide you as much as possible. Everything else is bullshit or BS. Everything else is BS. If you follow the macro, I guarantee you will win in this game. But if you have no clue and you're just simply looking at what's going to pump 5x or 1x or whatever, it's not going to work. So we have to look at this holistically. There's some amazing questions that I will take. Hey, looking smooth. Appreciate you, bro. Much love. And you welcome. July on the building. Julios, I love the way you spell that name. Beautiful. And we've got some really good questions here. Can you see SUI recovery in value, and is there a good DCA for it? Yes, sir. Let's look at these, because these are incredible. I have posted few things about SUI over the years, but there are different charts we need to look at SUI. Ultimately, the first one we always look at should be the market cap. Okay. So on a yearly performance for SUI, we are 48% for the year, and year to date we are 29.84% down, 2.19% down on the week, on the month, and 2.2% down on the week, and today of course 3% down. And there are key metrics you can look at. There's so many different things, but if I open up the market cap chart, probably the best way, let me just hide this for a second. So with SUI, notice I've got a big yellow line, big fat yellow line here that goes back to a very long time. And if I switch this to the weekly, I mean, first of all, you can actually see this on the daily anyway. So the market cap is telling me that the top was 16.21 billion. And it's honestly, it's most incredible. In a bear market, you have to have eyes on the market cap. So what we have is a ceiling of 16 billion, and we have retraced all the way back to $3.7 billion. Now, the macro trend from the bottom back in August 2024, so we left 1.2 billion and never really looked back. So what we have here is every time we came to this macro support line for the market cap, it has given us a reaction. Okay. Now, I told people in my group last week, or every time I post about SUI, I talk about this, which is, where are we heading right now? So on the weekly, I expect SUI to pull back to about $3 billion in valuation. Okay. I will definitely start from there. So if that happens, you can see we should, this is a very, very strong support line, but to even make it more interesting, if we pull it back a little bit, because this is the February 6th market cap crash here, which was around $3 billion. So if we mark out this level, and again, I just want to buy this in between kind of couple of ranges to start with and where it breaks. So what I would say is, let's come back to this yellow line of $3 billion for SUI. And in all of a sudden, if we look at the price, so if we look at the price has also done a very similar thing. I can actually even stretch this trend line. Let me just go a little bit forward up to here. So what you see here is SUI's trend line from October 15th, 2023 to this bear market, which is about 800. You can see it right here. That is around 885 days. So if you want to get a generational bag, the first thing you want to do is wait for the price to approach 80 cents. Now, it has done that before, right? If we look at this as a parallel channel, from here to here, you can see a lot of people are saying this was SUI's bull flag, right? So if you see that as an important channel, and then you take this halfway point, you take this midpoint, it will give us a lot more clarity in where we need to look at for SUI. So this is the trend line, this yellow line. You've got this new uptrend. That's not quite an uptrend here. Let me just pull it back. We have 3 touches on there. There you go. We have a midpoint, and we've just broken that on the weekly. So here's what I expect to happen. SUI's true indication is break 80 cents, right? You come here. If you break 80 cents, and you can see that's actually in line with what I had in mind initially, you are going to get a very, very good buying opportunity below 80 cents. So I would hold on. The weekly right now is weak. We are at the midpoint. And even if we did this, if we try to hold this and get one more rejection, go sideways, ultimately what you want to see is SUI break 80 cents. Now, if it gets back above that yellow line, and I'm sorry if you can't see it clearly, I'll just try and zoom into this price action here, right? You could really, really see that. Because don't forget, while SUI is doing this, the ecosystem is also pretty cheap. And I don't want people to miss out on key assets. But when you actually start looking at what this uptrend, what this sideways move is, where SUI's main resistance is, can we break 80 cents? Can we get back to this yellow line? I think for me personally, I did say 76 cents. Last time we went to around 79. I do believe 78, 76 was also kind of hit with some DCA orders for people. But if we can, let me see if I can get the, let's see if I can get, see if I can actually put this on. So yeah, my answer would be to your wonderful question, brother. And virtuals as well. Wow. Also like virtuals is a blue chip, but the chart, if we can go low, yeah, 50. I mean, Pete will tell you all about it. Pete will tell you all about it. Yeah, definitely. We'll look at that as well. We'll look at virtuals because I think we will get our prices. I was waiting for the 50 cent. I haven't seen any movements. But just to summarize this one on SWE, you are 80 cents or lower, you start to dollar cost average, as simple as that. Now, while we're still on the subject of SUI, I would also very much like everyone to pay attention to the SUI ecosystem, because you will definitely print more SUI further down the line. And if I just remind you of what the ecosystem is looking like right now, this is what's happening right now. So let's hide this again. So SUI AI agents up 32%. MemeFi, Blue Whale, which is kind of interesting. Let's have a look at Blue Whale. I think this is was this a meme coin? Or AI, sorry. This is the AI project. Very, very, very low circulation. Oh, never mind. But identifying key SUI projects, I would say, for me, I have my favorites. I think Walrus is one that I'm eyeing, only because it's essential to the SUI tech stack, and it's now at $176 million. If SUI is going to come down some more, I do expect this to have a further correction, and of course it has unlocks as well, so you'll definitely be able to have a decent amount of gains, hopefully, in this deepen category. They released a document called their AI tech stack, and it was heavily featured in that. So it's just one of the ones I'm watching. Walrus will be one. I'm watching Bluefin. I'm actually watching Lofi as a tiny meme coin. So yeah, SUI network definitely is a Navi protocol now at $7 million. Bluefin $6.8 million. Look at Sudeng at $5 million. Scalab at $3 million. I mean, Lofi here, I wanted Lofi below $3 million, and for some reason it never really goes below $3 million. Okay, so plenty of good, really decent projects within the SUI ecosystem further down the line, and I do believe before you speculate, get the core in. Make sure you have your virtuals, your taus, your ondos, your caspers. Make sure you bag your real utility cryptocurrencies. You move down the risk barrier, get some of your base tokens, and so on and so on. And I think you should be good with a decent portfolio. Now let's move to so that's SUI. SUI, I would say 80 cents and below. I think there'll be good opportunities to start from there. Let's talk about this bad boy, Zebek, and virtuals. So without any particular order, virtuals protocol is now still, despite all of the market turbulence. Now, first of all, AI projects did have an excellent week last week. And virtuals is no exception. It had an amazing week. But let's get a clean chart for this little bad boy, because I do believe AI agents, the base tech stack with agents, X402, all of that leans into virtuals protocol. I found this. Would you believe? I think I found this less than 6 cents back in the days. Now, the chart that I shared on my last live stream had two potential outcomes. Potential number one, on the daily chart, we have the downtrend and we have been trading above the mid-range of this downtrend. So it's kind of scary, like how, so basically we said we will either break out of this or we would get rejected. Of course, the entire market has come down to a level, the total market cap actually, and the conflict and everything else. So what we've done is we haven't closed the full candle below it, but we did have a rejection candle and a second bearish candle with a cooling RSI. Okay. So, and before we we can definitely look at ZBEC. So I would say, look, idea one is invalidated. So idea two is in absolute discussions here. So what I would say is wait for this to potentially come down to this mid-range, break that, and then we can actually see 50 cents if we continue bearish on the weekly. Okay, so there's our weekly rejection. It's very straightforward. I would be bidding for this lower down the line towards that 50 cent. ZBEC, ZBCN, USDT. Sorry, CBCN. Now, the news here is obviously not a surprise to anyone because they have been absolutely shipping, the team that is. It's one of the few teams that I have any complaints about. And this is the weekly candle, by the way. That is a massive green weekly candle. And we did say we will chop. Of course, the whole entire market is chopping. They have come to this interesting trend line, or this green box here. They've come to the top and the daily is still extending upwards. Now that is going to be quite a good project to keep in mind, because they were an American-based team. They've just announced a partnership with Stellar. They've announced partnerships with other big cryptocurrencies in the past before. They are a DPIN, they are an RWA, they are payrolls, and most importantly, I think made in the USA at some point will take off. But let's have a look at the news, so you're all up to date with what's going on and what's behind this micro cap, small cap, whatever you want to call it. The chart itself here is, it's telling, right? This is the same level that it was just blasting out of last time round. So I think Pete that was saying this one is either moving sideways, but it's not going to break down. And I tend to agree with that sentiment. Obviously, the bear market's going to continue. Bitcoin comes down, blah, blah, blah. Everything is going to be under pressure. So you've got to pace yourself. It is relatively cheap from a market cap perspective. Stellar selected ZBEC. Okay. And for its global stablecoin payroll infrastructure provider. So this is really, really good. Now, what they tend to do very well, what they tend to do really well is they get into the right spaces. They always get into the right spaces with teams. So that's MoneyGram's 50 million customers across Latin America and beyond. So that's tremendous. And by the way, Pete, I missed it. Virtuals may not go lower than 50 cents. I think 50 would be the before. 50 cents. I think would be tremendous in my opinion. Considering we bought that thing at around not enough though, but 5 and 6 cents. That was just crazy, man. That was like one of the biggest movers from the last cycle. So yeah, guys. So we looked at ZBEC, we looked at SUI and its ecosystem. We looked at the what else are they cooking actually? Let's have a look at their other post as well. AI-based PayFi RWA. I mean, what else are they saying? Yeah, AI agents. So it was an interesting update with AI agents that they came up with. And I really thought this was absolutely top-notch marketing, because what they've done is they said that everyone's talking about AI agents basically, but not everyone is telling you how they're going to allow the agents to pay, right? And yeah, they gotta get a repost, man. They gotta get a like and repost. I love what they're doing. I think in a bear market anyway, bear market is all about teams, right? So this is the pay link, but this is pretty decent. So it's still a micro cap. But what they did is they talked about AI agents and they said, look, we never built our system. We've not built our system for AI agents. But what we've done is we can see where the gap is. So here's the kind of announcement that they were talking about. Everyone in crypto is talking about AI agents to hire each other, run tasks, buy services, among other use cases. But almost no one talks about the infrastructure they actually need. So interesting. They're saying this is how we can actually enable programmable payments for humans and AI agents. I thought this was really, this is brilliant, because they say, look, we've not built for this, but we can do it. So sometimes it's better, you know, rather than teams looking at projects and saying they can do everything, these guys have just said, look, we're not, here's what we do. And I thought that was great. I thought this was a very good final unlock for AI agent payments. And what allows them to do this is streaming payments, treasury controls, programmable cards, originally built for real-time payroll. And that's what agents need, right? So when agents become more economic actors, they will need to have programmable finance. And this is where ZBEC is already built. So that's actually a very good infrastructure move if they can get that going. There's a pretty good question that's just come in. So yeah, Pete, I think we've looked at all of these three, and I do agree with you regarding the 50 cent for the to start with anyway, depending on what conditions we are in the market then. Good question here. Where do you think Tau can reach price-wise? Keep up the good work. Appreciate you, brother. Much love. CAS, the ultimate killer for CAS is the $1, right? So that's where psychologically everybody wants Casper to be at, in my opinion. Casper's actually having a decent time right now because Casper was meant to be bullish this summer. There's several factors, in my opinion, that are coming for Casper that will put it alongside some of the other key layer ones. Okay, so the other key layer ones in the space, Casper should show TVL, Casper should capture DeFi, Casper should have, it already has a Solana bridge, and Casper should ultimately get to that $2, $3 range someday. Now, along the way, it's not going to be easy because you're going to have the $1 bros cashing out at psychological levels. But what I would say is, I would heavily suggest that beyond 50 cents, it's going to be an open game, right? So depending on how violently ETH moves, I still have a projection of around $12,000 for ETH. That hasn't changed. But to give you a $1 price for Casper will be to set you up for failure, because you do nothing before, and then by the time the market moves, maybe you do nothing after. So Casper's move here is pretty decent. You can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, like it's had a good come up. But we are talking short term anyway. We're talking about this, right? Even if we go to the shortest point here from July last year, we're talking about this downtrend, right? So technically, if I just move this down a little bit, apart from the wicks, you can actually see Casper needs to stay above this. Essentially, this is Casper's downtrend, and we are coming out of it a little bit, right? So this is broken. We could actually even move it slightly all the way back to here. So, sorry, I'm not even sharing the. So this is Casper's picture right now, right? So Casper is showing resilience. Now on the weekly, on the daily, actually, it is extremely overbought. And I do expect a bit of a cool off with the market. But ultimately, if you are looking for a projection, I would say previous all-time high was around 22 cents, right? We were right here, or 20 cents actually even. Let's mark that off. And what we can see is if you set a target here, anything above into price discovery is game. But I would say my first real points of interest would be around this this level here. That 57, 58 cents. I would take some profits there. Psychological number, maybe 45 and below. But it should, it should do something like that in the short term. I mean, from these lows anyway, so people have some kind of a, and I'm not even doing a Fibonacci extension, but that's going to be a 15x on your money, which is absolutely insanity. Put $1,000 in, 15,000 out. Put, $2,000 in, 30K, and so on. Now, if we do ultimately go to the Holy Grail with my bullish target, if ETH goes to $12,000, I would say from where we are to I think, market cap into consideration, it would also around $1.50 would be incredible. And you're looking at, 50x plus, 100x plus. I mean, it's not normal, right? It's not normal, So I would say even below $1, if you want to be smart, even 80 cents is 35x. So we're seeing real opportunities right now. However, I wouldn't even think like that. I think for me, the ultimate where people are debating right now is CAS coming back to this blue line or is CAS going to hold this this yellow line? I think the answer would be, first, we need to hold this yellow line. We need to, hold this yellow line, stay around here, because look how much support it has on this level. If it breaks down, I wouldn't be too surprised, because this is a major level of support. I wouldn't be too surprised if the entire market tanks. But considering the amount of data that it's shown, the amount of strength that it's shown at this level, I highly doubt if Casper just breaks that randomly, So yeah, good times. I mean, we've had decent run of it, but with Casper, really, it's a long-term buy, and it's more about knowing what the potential is as the fastest proof of one layer one cryptocurrency in the world. 2 cent maybe, yeah. I mean, Pete, if we can grab that, because if you look at below this yellow line, where does 2 cents sit about this? You know, so even if we mark that off here, let's have a look. We're looking at an additional drop of, and this is the, you know, that's a great point you make there, Pete, because this has the hallmarks of a of something that people actually debate about, but ultimately, if we drop from where we are into this midpoint, so that is almost like a 40% plus a fall, right, from where we are. Whereas, you know, another 70% will take it to the lows. So I doubt that we'll ever fill that candle here, which is the October the 8th candle. But if we come back here, I think it's reasonable to say maybe let's look at this as a, because we did have a significant gain in the last few days. I mean, breaking its downtrend here on the daily, that was quite a massive move. But if we get generous terms, why not? Why not? You know? So the next one you asked about, I need to give a drums roll for. Hit me up. Is Tau. Because you did ask for two. Sorry, I went way too long in, but I think Pete's already dropped the answer there. BitTensor Tau is behaving like early Ethereum, in my opinion. And it's funny because, you know, it's comfortable. ETH is comfortable at 2K. It's comfortable at 4K, 5K. It will be comfortable at 10K. So in this crazy plan that I had, I did manage to grab some on the wicks when I told the team to put some below 160. It went there, 150 or whatever it was, 157, I think 158. But you can never have enough Tau. Now, last live stream, we did say that we were coming up to 300. Myself, Pete, the rest of the guys, we knew that 300 was a resistance. It came back down, got eaten up again. But ultimately, what we need to see is a potential for this to break the $700 barrier. 744 was the all-time high. I mean, ultimately right now, you're looking at crazy potential with this. Now, for me, it's a long-term buy. So even if we get to $2,500 to $3,500, I think the price will target towards the kind of like 4 to 5K, I would say, as bullish as possible. But my ultimate range will be from kind of like $2,500 all the way to about 4.5. And the reason I say that, ultimately, Tau is an absolute ginormous beast. And I think, if you think about it anyway, we are living in the age of AI. So why so bullish? We know, so I can talk about few cryptocurrencies and tell you why I'm convicted. And perhaps diversity, you know, retail has always confused between diversity or blurred the lines between diversity and good investment. Or I would say diversity versus trading. Now, not enough people trade the shit coins, and therefore they don't end up building conviction in the absolute generational coins that you see. What would you do if you saw this in 2016? What would you do if you saw early stage Solana? That's the, you know, whales had to buy and hold for a number of years. I mean, some of these we're talking about 10 years plus, 5 years, 7 years. So we are in the right frame of mind in this community when it comes to building conviction and ultimately becoming whales. I can actually show you the moves on Nansen.ai, right? So it is a massive buy and hold. And if you want to be like one of those whales who live off their crypto in the long run, I suggest you get your convictions right. So let me talk about some cryptocurrencies and tell you today, if you put, if you told me you've got $1 million right there to buy, why would you buy these coins? Tau, I would buy it because we are living in the age of AI. We are in open source AI. Tau's computational power and decentralized nature that doesn't allow anyone to control it makes it, I mean, look at, all you have to do is go back to the NVIDIA conference. You go to the NVIDIA conference and Justin Wan was just talking about Clawbot, OpenClaw. And they are building, NVIDIA's making the open source move in particular because they know if they make AI agents universal, every GPU sold will add to their firepower, right? So they understand the power of the space. So I can tell you now, putting my 10-year vision on, I can tell you now, this is not normal. This coin sitting around this $200-300 mark is not normal. The supply is not normal. The use case is not normal. We are living in the age of AI. Big AI companies, Anthropic is it's almost $400 billion in market valuation. OpenAI. So rather than the domination by the typical Wall Street, and again, there's a lot of whales in it. Yes, there's a lot of whale money concentrated into this, but the whales know something we don't. Barry Silbert saw this as an early Bitcoin for AI. So I can tell you with that level of conviction why I would buy this at any given Sunday, especially when it's red. Because I use AI every day of my life. I use AI for fraud detection. I use AI to write content. I use AI to research. People are losing work because of AI, not those that can actually go and operate AI models. But anybody who's not using AI today has no job security. AI is not going to take people out of work, but people that don't use AI will be replaced by those who actually do. That's the threat. So, case made. What do I need to worry about then? Just setting up my orders, bringing my dry powder, and having some type of targets so I can get the bag that I feel like I can afford and wait for it to cook over a number of years. So what if last cycle? Yeah, okay, $700. I'm not in the game to turn one Tau into $700. So what do you want? I want $5,000-10,000. Would it get there? Yeah. Scarcity, tokenomics, halving mechanisms, right? Check. And I'm good to go. Next, what am I looking at? Well, yeah, I never bought enough Solana back in the day. I never bought enough Solana on the night of FTX. I did buy over 250 souls at $8, but it wasn't enough. So what am I looking at? Yeah, okay, I'll wait for Sui to break support because I know how whale money is going to behave. At one point, they will tell us this is the new Solana. Fair enough. Keep it moving. Why will I buy a little bag of Casper or a big bag of Casper? Because I do believe Casper has the fundamentals to be an important cryptocurrency. Just doesn't have the marketing. Fair enough. Okay, I'll buy while it's down. Let's keep it moving. Virtual's protocol. Well, AI agents are dominating base, X402. They are going to execute so much volume that ultimately ends up in Virtual's protocol. Oh, I like that. So you build conviction and then let me check out the team. Let me check out the on-chain activities. I was going to publish something for developer activities. Who's developing? Who's working in the bear market? Right? And then you've got the coins like Ondo Finance. Yeah, okay. So far, it's been very disappointing, but Ondo is not a 2025 cycle top coin. Ondo is more of a longer term. It's when Wall Street is entirely trading on the blockchain. Okay, so let it come down. Let it break 22-cent support. I'm all in. Or at least I can bet on that being one of Wall Street's finest coins. And it may not be just the only RWA coin, but I'm looking for my convictions, right? So then, you do the checklist. Then I'll go and get other projects like the brother just dropped. Render. Render is an institutional coin. Near Protocol has not had a bull market since 2021. But Near Protocol has gone better in tokenomics. It's gone better in use case. It has since put a contract onto Zcash. It has become the staking mechanisms have improved. Great. This is not about putting all your money in ass and tits and feet and donkeys right now. Hell no. Right now, you can set your grandchildren free. So you have maybe where diversification is a problem is where people just think, okay, this narrative, I need that narrative. No, man, you don't need no multiple billions of narratives. If you can shrink your portfolio down, you can. Big up Ethan. E-Money's in the building. Big up my brother. BTC of AI, bro. Facts. Coins like Render, Near Protocol, Cubic, Bitensa, Tau subnets. Better to stake subnets on Tau. Absolutely, bro. Facts. E-Money Bags is giving you, Ethan is giving you the playbook right there. Pete is saying that Tau ETFs over a year ago, no brainer. Facts. Again. So this is why I think, look, we'd rather be that weird people that talk about, these things in the open, because I do believe a lot of people just don't have anything to say about crypto unless the price is up or down, right? But ultimately, we honestly, like, if you can take a time travel to see everything that you know now, you'd understand how to make money in this space. Is to stay away from the noise, is to be able to streamline your income so you can actually just see the picture right there. No one has a crystal ball. But if a token or a coin is not developing, like, I'll give you an example, right? This is a Binance launch. This is a Binance launch. It's called IP. It's called Story, I think. Right? Their 24-hour fees on chain. Their 24-hour fees on chain are like $10. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the market cap is? I'll just show you this. These teams, like a lot of crypto is absolute bullshit. Now, what's happened since, which is unbelievable, it's only a few days since I checked this. So this was like $3 billion, right? Now, with an infinite supply, with a trading volume of $50 million, the trading volume used to be close to $1 billion. And if you look at Story now, they barely make $10 in a 24-hour period. Unbelievable, crazy extraction of retail money. And look at their fees. I mean, horrible. horrible. It's not even them. Let me find you so many projects you will see that are ridiculous. Chains. If you look at these chains. So you have Base doing very well. You've got Arbitrum's just a stable coin pusher. Tron is a stable coin pusher. Polygon is an interesting one. Right? Polygon is an interesting one, but really, really crazy. Like they don't have any use cases. Thank you, Imbelta. Appreciate that, sister. Thank you. That's going to be quite interesting because that's going to be insane, huh? I have no idea what that story will be, but I'll try and tout to Robinhood. Has it been listed? Maybe there's news about it. Tau Bitensor. It's an alien looking name, man. It sounds like the stuff you can get rich from. Tensor Foundation. I mean, look. The age of AI agents. It's pretty good material for, I mean, this is, see if we can play this clip.
Because that's how I control it. That's how I ground truth.
Let me ask you a question about open source. So we have these closed source models. They're excellent. Yeah. We have these open weight models. Many of the Chinese models are incredible. Absolutely incredible. 2 days ago, you may not have seen this because you were busy on stage, but there was a training run that happened in this crypto project called BitTensor. Subnet 3, they managed to train a 4 billion parameter llama model, totally distributed, with a bunch of people contributing excess compute. But they were able to do it statefully and manage a training run, which I thought was like a pretty crazy technical accomplishment.
Yeah.
Because it's like random people and each person gets a little share.
Our modern version of folding at home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the end state of open source? Do you see this decentralization of architecture as well and decentralization of compute to support open weights and a totally open source approach to making sure AI is broadly available?
Sounds like a rich
I believe
name.
we fundamentally need models as a first-class product, proprietary product, as well as models as open source. These two things are not A or B, it's A and B. There's no question about it. And the reason for that is because models is a technology, not a product. Models.
It's incredibly interesting, to say the least. But it does sound, it sounds like a rich, yeah. Facts, bro. Sounds like a Richie Rich. Anyway, guys, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my evening. Once again, Eid Mubarak to everyone that's going to celebrate Eid tomorrow. It's been a long month of fasting, but let's pray for better days ahead. And God bless you all. And certainly I shall catch you on another one. But do not despair. If prices do come down, it just means that we are in a crazy, crazy opportunity. King Solomon, there was never a bull run for alts. Facts. Facts, bro. Facts. I mean, you are not only right, you actually show the ETH ratio confirms that the total 3 minus BTC divided by USDT, one of the most important charts in the whole of crypto, has shown that. Like it's literally put a torch on it. If you look at this all the way back to 2021 cycle, we've never ever, we've been in an eternal downtrend. Never come out of it as well. So all the facts align with exactly what you're saying. But listen, big up everyone. I hope you have a wonderful, like I said, a wonderful Eid for those of you who celebrate. If you don't celebrate, still, you have a wonderful weekend. And I'll catch you on the next live stream, guys. Ramadan is over, man. I can get back onto the early live streams. Take care, guys. Good night. do.